The race around the world is nearing its end, and this week the teams continued racing in Slovenia, so it's time to get you caught up on everything that happened in last week's episode. Okay, first of all, love this episode again. This season's really gearing up to be good, and I think it's because all the remaining teams, like, it really feels like they're in it to win it. It's so competitive, but also most of them are so really friendly to each other, which I really enjoy as well. So the first thing we see in this episode is the roadblock, which is who can deliver the goods. First of all, I would hate a challenge like this because I'm not patient, and the fact that you had to walk at such a slow pace to get where you needed to go.
With how slow Corey was walking, I was like, you've got to pick up the pace.
Yeah, exactly. So as you can see in the pictures on screen, basically what they had was like, I don't know, like wooden like goods, I guess, that were like handmade, but they were on this like, I don't know, like not tier, but like rack, if you will, that you create on your back. Yeah. And you had to everything had to be intact. You had to deliver it to this group of, I guess, locals. But that was the thing, is everyone was like, I want to run. That's what my instinct is telling me to do. But if you did, something would fall off and everything had to be intact. So that would be really annoying. And one team specifically really struggled with this, which was Robbin and Chelsea. I think Chelsea was the one that did it, and she kept dropping things the whole time and then got all the way there one time and left something back where it started.
She was the only one that had to go back and redo it.
Yeah, so it was quite a mess, but I don't know. Personally, I don't think I would do very good at this. Then we move into this like cave dragon puzzle kind of thing. And I actually thought this challenge was really cool. So they kind of drove out more so like outside of the city, which is where they'd been the entire time, go into this cave and then have to build this huge kind of almost like life-size like dragon puzzle from scratch. And it was actually really neat to watch them because every team's tactic and like, I guess, strategy was very different, which was kind of cool. So I don't know, I kind of enjoyed that.
Well, you really had to think about the strategy, because if you started with the body, you had to get the feet too.
Yeah.
Because one of the teams did that and then they had to lift up.
Yes.
But it's also really cool because they're also like a mile into the earth.
Yeah.
In this cavern.
Yeah. I think the episode title was In the Belly of the Earth, and one of the like, the Beard brothers said that. He was like, we're literally in the belly of the earth, which was kind of cool. The other interesting thing about this is there were so many pieces, which I don't think people maybe fully comprehended. And so we saw some teams kind of leave out very vital pieces, or just like not fully put something together the way it was supposed to be. So like Greg and John, who have been in the lead a lot of this, their first check they did, the guy was like, no, and they're like, what did we do wrong? And it's because the tail was on wrong. And so it's like there was big pieces, but it was still very kind of like niche and nitpicky.
Well, and the bad thing is, if you don't know what you did wrong, you're scouring.
Yeah.
And it could be something so small.
And that could totally set you behind, which is I don't know, like it's hard. It's what really separates the teams, if you will. Then we move into this episode's Detour, which is scrape off or swap out. So first we start with swap out, and here's the thing. Oh my gosh. So both of these in theory don't seem that difficult. Again, I don't ever really know how hard something is when you're actually on the race. But the swap out is where you were on a kayak and you had to swim out and swap out a buoy and then grab a new buoy with a bag of, was it mussels? Yeah. And you had to do that twice. We see our favorite team, Rob and Corey, totally mess this up. And for no good reason. Like the instructions were pretty clear. It really was like a pretty cut and dry kind of challenge. There was nothing complicated about it. Totally messed it up, which set them behind, which was kind of frustrating. The other side of this is the scrape off. So you had to take these chains and scrape these. I don't even know. They were like fish something.
They're barnacles.
Okay, that's what it was. Yeah. And so you had to scrape it off both. There was like two railings, both railings inside and out.
And it doesn't seem that hard. But like Annaleigh and Steve said that like there's really suctioned on there. So watching from home, it might actually be a lot more physically challenging than you'd expect.
Yes, and we see Annaleigh kind of give some advice to Rob and Corey because they end up switching detours. And I thought it was funny how she was like very specific. She's like, you have to lean back and you just have to pull. And I thought that was like really funny that she was like really trying to help them out and was so specific in her technique. Then we move into the pit stop of this episode. So no surprise, Greg and John win again. Which is like, whatever. They've won like the last 3 or 4 episodes at this point.
4 for them.
And I was telling you just before this, I kind of hope that the next episode that it's more of like they all start at the same starting point, time point again, because like someone needs to get them and win first. Because I don't know. It's not that I don't want to see them in the finale, but I don't really want to see them win. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, they definitely deserve to be in the finale, but someone else needs to get them. And then on this episode, we see Robbin and Chelsea unfortunately be the last team to be eliminated.
I wasn't too sad about.
They've been very controversial, I guess you could say, this season. A little bit catty, kind of, towards the other teams. Very standoffish.
Well, and even in like the challenge earlier on, when Chelsea was doing like the backpack one, when she had to go back, she kind of, I feel like, gave the person handing the clue a little attitude. And I was like,
No, I
He's
agree.
just doing what they asked him to do.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I will say, though, I loved Robin's story this season about her husband. Her husband had just passed. She had lost a bunch of weight, too. So she had kind of like been through a lot and put herself through a lot before coming on the show. And I think for her, this was like a very positive experience, which I ended up speaking to Chelsea, spoke to Chelsea, and Chelsea had said like she feels like a lot of viewers are very receptive to that story and it was very therapeutic for them. So that was nice. So we'll have more from the interview with Chelsea. And as always, check out Amazing Race Wednesdays on CBS, or you can stream it on Paramount Plus. And Ozarks Live will be right back.